Hello, you are listening to Ultra Q, episode 106. My name is Red. I'm joined by Brad.
Yeah, hi, it's me, Brad. I just got this letter on my desk from Mel saying she had to leave for, let me see here, reasons, leaving us alone.
Yeah. We got rid of the woman. It was, we figured it was about time, in this Ultra series podcast. At some point you just have to axe women, and then everyone can go on without them.
But it's okay,
so,
I did learn that it's okay for boys to cry.
It's okay for boys to cry, but it's not okay for girls to live. We are back with 3 more episodes of Ultraman Leo, episodes 4, 5, and 6. And we're continuing with our saucer stuff. We'll get into it at some point, but before then, first of all, have you been watching the Keeleys?
Yes, I have.
Okay, should we talk about the Keeleys?
If you want to, more broadly, oof.
Yeah.
Okay, the state of play, I feel like, had more stuff than I expected it to, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But that's also not the Keeleys, technically.
The secret of the summer showcases is you don't watch the Keeley show. Watch the other stuff.
Yeah,
it's competently made.
That was especially true this year.
Oh my god, it was so bad. Sorry, I had to talk about this briefly. I have come away with a decent list of video games to keep
I have wish listed at least 20 games on Steam, which I'm very happy by.
I mean, I assume one of those for the both of us is the what if a From Software game was on PlayStation 1.
Oh yeah. It's fuck. I was literally looking through my list.
And there's Prison of Husks.
Prison of Husks. Yes.
Prison of Husks. That shit looks good.
I also want to give a special shout out to a game shown in the woman-led games that the whoever's running the account for that showcase liked my post, which was just all lowercase. I'm fascinated by Drywall Eating Simulator.
Oh yes,
the trailer of which was a guy going like, "Hey, we're inventing an app that lets you bet crypto on which rideshare app driver will get there fastest," and then the person proceeds to go into another room and then start eating drywall. And I'm like, oh, this is maybe the greatest social commentary of our time.
The other lesson learned increasingly, learned it last year, learned it again this year, is if you want to find anime games, you watch the Latin American showcase.
Yeah, that specifically if you're looking for something that looks like it's straight out of the 90s, could have been on something you watched as a kid.
The Sentai action game where you're switching between, which they didn't translate, but I heard the words Maho Shoujo in there.
Yeah.
Where you're switching between your 5 characters. As it's the kind of thing I'm looking for.
Similarly, I think there's a game called it's Kernel something KER. Shit.
I didn't note this down.
Okay, I'm gonna feel bad because I don't have it wish listed, but it's Kernel Hearts. It is a game that it looks like a cool action RPG multiplayer thing that's also magical girl themed. But the art for it and the music they had in the trailer both were real standouts. So I was like, oh okay,
yes, I saw this. Yes,
yeah, that's a cool looking thing. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff here or there. I feel like this year, I noted this. I really felt like they did a good job of making it so that whoever was putting together these side streams didn't put 3 you're cozy in a new town and you've become a farmer games back to back to back.
They did. They did. They actually kind of spread things out a little. One thing that happened was I did watch the wholesome thing, and I was basically talking myself into it, where I was like, it's just an aesthetic. It's a value neutral idea. It's not actually annoying. It's not actually annoying. And increasingly with everything, every new person talking about, oh, cozy this, cozy that, and I was going, it's just someone else's aesthetic. You don't have to get mad, Red. You just. And I was just I was just, oh, so I had to turn it off. I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah, I
Um,
think what I've boiled down to with a lot of that stuff
mhm.
is like I like it. Like I mean I like a Harvest Moon or a Rune Factory here or
Yeah,
there in my life. I think the thing that kind of like bothers me about that whole thing is the idea of like, oh, these are the games that don't cause like stress or aren't stressful or like tension. But I'm like coming from a place where I kind of feel like the game industry kind of already has like is dominated by games that don't
frictionless.
actually cause don't cause friction or stress or tension at all already.
Yeah.
And like I sometimes some of the assumptions that come with that lean towards that whole like cottage core like return with the
Mhm.
V stuff that sometimes I feel like people are getting wise to and getting better at as like that became more of a cultural conversation. But every now
Mhm.
and again it's like, oh, don't you just want to like go back to the good old ways? And I'm like, no. I don't. I really don't.
I'm good. I'm good. Also, one person's comfort food is stressful for another person.
That is true.
I'm always thinking about Sejam when denying that fighting games are hard by pointing out that he just can't play first person shooters. He just can't do it.
Hmm.
Um, and it's like, is that a fundamentally hard genre, or is it just that the people playing it are familiar with it? Um, and that's kind of the farming games can be stressful.
Yeah.
Anyway, anyway.
I was watching my farming game sicko friend Marie play the latest Rune Factory that came out. That game seems pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. I've got a Rune Factory on like my 3DS list. Rune Factory 4 or something.
I think
Anyway,
3 and 4 are the ones people really really like. So,
yeah, yeah. Well,
um, yeah,
speaking
uh,
of RPGs, oh,
yeah.
did you have something you want to say?
No, I was
Uh,
gonna ask if we wanted to move on right along,
yeah,
and it
speaking of
sounds like
RPGs, I finished
you
KOTOR 2.
completed KOTOR too. Yeah,
Finished KOTOR 2. I'm gonna live my truth. That is a 5-star video game.
it's a good one.
Um, it's really good. It's really good. Now, uh, uh, do not put it in the papers that I'm Reddit. I do not think it's like cleverer than the rest of Star Wars. That's not how it is. I'm just it's good. The I just think the cast are really 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 good. I think Kreia
But
is great. I
Red,
think yeah,
he's just a man.
he's just a man. I think the fact that Kreia is like as much of a pathetic loser trying to get your attention as everyone else really really sort of elevates her stupid libertarian bullshit.
I
um
will. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure I've told you this before. One of my favorite things that has ever happened on the internet was that one guy who made a Kreia video essay that's like 3 hours long talking about how
is that the one
Kreia
with
is.
the I love the thumbnail for that video.
Yeah, yeah. It's the one that like
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
um but then like a year later same dude made a long spirited defense of lolicon art. I'm just like this is the
Oh,
most this
most
is the
libertarian action
yes.
that could
This
possibly happen.
it was so fucking funny.
Oh my god, that's incredible. That's really incredible.
Genuinely like felt like a moment that like a parodyist could not make up.
Surely, Exile, you understand they are just drawings.
Was that was a good day on Twitter. There's a lot of meltdowns.
Yeah.
uh
But yeah, KOTOR 2 is great. It like completely falls apart at the end, but it's like a narrative that kind of I don't know suits that in a way. Like cuz like everything comes unraveled and like the central character that the game hangs around is Kreia, and she's coming unraveled as she like makes this desperate play to lash out against the. It's sort of, it's sort of I'm the big fan of Victory Gundam. I really like Katagina, who feels like a character who's aware she's in a Tomino anime and is lashing out against that. And Kreia is kind of like, it fucking sucks to be in Star Wars. I hate this shit. And I'm mad about it. And like the kind of she's self-aware enough to know that it's possible that her lashing out against fate is fate itself. And I don't know. There's also I had a very long arc with this video game because I played it first RPG, played it when I was a kid, tiny child. I took ages to play this game because I'd never played an RPG before. I was like, this is fucking huge. And I got to the end, and there is a character death towards the end of KOTOR 2. But that's not true. A character dies near the end of KOTOR 2. The death is not in the game. It just becomes apparent that the character has died. And when I was a kid, I failed to understand that was what was And so there's this little section of the game where you're going around with a droid and in like the final map of the game. And it's just, for me at the time, it was just this kind of amusing little sidebar. I was just like, well, this is strange. And now playing it, getting the dialogue beforehand and understanding, oh, this is the last hurrah of a character who died somewhere else, off screen, never addressed by the game itself. And it was a very, I don't know, it was like this weirdly mournful thing, taking this droid around the planet and fixing up some things, and then the scene ends in some HK jokes, and it's like, that's KOTOR 2. like real emotional depth, immediately followed by HK making a joke about being a droid and being superior to everyone else. Yeah, I had a great time with KOTOR 2. I thought it was great. It is so funny how broken you become in that game. Last week I was talking about moving things around in your inventory to make the numbers work better. At some point the game gives up and just gives you +9 everything basically, and it's like, okay, it seems a bit much, but I'll take it. And to be fair, by the final boss, I did need it. I did. Yeah. It was like, oh, it's an even fight between me and the final boss. Oh, it's good. Yeah, I thought KOTOR 2 ruled. I will take a break maybe from Chris Avalon. I will go back to Planescape Torment another day.
That's I hate to give it to him. That's a good game.
It sucks having to give it to him. But yeah, I mean, his his best and worst tendencies come out.
Yeah.
Someday I'll play Planescape Torment, and I'll just that's the one that everyone's like, yeah, that's the masterpiece. We'll see.
The problem I have with Planescape Torment is that it's really hard to get excited about going back to a game that's main core idea is what like can change the nature of a man, when you learn about the nature of the man who was responsible for writing it.
True.
Like
true.
It is one of those things where it's like, oh, the core idea is deeply impacted by this guy being shitty.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, but one day maybe I will.
I will see. It's on my list.
It is an all-timer RPG.
Yeah. Anyway, that's me. I haven't done anything else really.
I have a few things.
Go for it.
I watched The Founder, a movie about the rise of McDonald's. That was all right. It was a good time. It's a really well put together movie. I kind of feel like because of my political beliefs, I'm just kind of like, yeah. I do all that. Oh wow, you're telling me the guy who found these two brothers' brilliant and innovative new idea for a restaurant came in, said is for me, and then also cheated on his wife while he greedily expanded and kicked the brothers out? Wow. surely this doesn't happen with everything all over
All the
the
time,
place all the
everywhere.
time. Yeah. But I do have to give it credit. I do think so. A lot of movies like this, especially as of late, really go wild with it. Where like all of these movies have a scene where someone's doing coke in a bathroom, and
Right,
like
yes.
people are fucking. This movie is like a hard PG-13. They do the one F-bomb somewhere along the line. I
They
think
can't do
this
the
is.
cocaine?
I don't really. I can't think of any drugs going around in this movie. But also,
Damn.
it was like the
Oh,
50s.
yeah,
So
it's a
like
different okay, sorry,
there
I'm
there
looking at the Wikipedia page now and seeing 1954 and going, "Okay, well, it's
yeah.
different yeah, not quite the same vibe."
There is a scene, I can't remember why, but like Ray Kroc accuses one of the McDonald brothers for being a communist about something, and he's like, "I'm not one of those beatniks. I'm a hardworking American." It's so fucking funny.
That's so good.
They also talk about how so the reason McDonald's, the original restaurant, wasn't a drive-in and it was just a walk up to the counter and take your order thing. The way that started was because the brothers were uncomfortable with the teenage ne'er-do-wells that were riding up in their cars and goofing around and scaring away the good traditional American families from their restaurant establishment.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a funny movie. I do think basically to finish this point, I think that it's good to have a movie like this that is maybe a little more like you I don't know how much a 14-year-old would care about this movie, but I feel like you could show a kid this as their first one of these types of like greedy people rising to the top and everything kind of sucks, like sort of like being corrupted by the American dream type movies, and I think it's a good starter one of those is essentially what I'm thinking. And yeah, it's overall just well put together, very well paced. I think the passage of time is communicated really well. I like how they showcase his marriage crumbling apart. Every scene he has with his wife, who I believe it's been a minute, I'm pretty sure Laura Dern plays his wife. You could just feel the sexlessness of it all and how much she is just getting tired of being left out of his life as he becomes more and more obsessed with opening up new McDonald's stores all over the country.
Mhm.
And then it keeps cutting back to the original two brothers who are primarily concerned with, hey, this restaurant we opened is our pride and joy, and we paid some guy, or we brought some guy in to go expand out elsewhere to get us more money. And then they just keep getting phone calls like, oh, we're not actually going to be using real, like, ice cream and shit for your milkshakes anymore. We're just going to do, like, the powdered stuff that's real easy and quick and you don't need to refrigerate. And they're like, no, like, that's shit. Like, this is our, like, the last name of our family is this food chain. And, like,
Mhm.
we don't want it to be associated with shit. And he's like, well, that's, but what if we had more money?
Yeah.
And then gradually just like falling into despair as they realize they have no actual control as the franchise expands and they just get kicked the fuck out and are left with nothing is pretty strong. And also too, every movie like this that has the where are they now montage with like black and white images of real
Yeah,
life
yeah,
with
yeah.
text always gives the most depressing follow-ups ever, and this definitely does. It's pretty good. So A plus to the founder. Good movie. Michael Keaton is a very good actor.
There we go. You heard it here first, folks. Michael
one of
Keaton, good actor, it's been decided.
one of the McDonald's brothers is played by who played let's see
Either
the
Nick
actor's
Offerman or
name.
John Carroll Lynch.
John Carroll Lynch, yeah, that's who I'm looking for. But the entire movie, I'm like, this is what the fucking Zodiac Killer did before he was killing. Shout outs to John Carroll Lynch. He's a good actor. Zodiac, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Man, what a backstory for the Zodiac Killer.
I love. There's a scene in Zodiac that I don't technically think this is how it happened in real life. I did end up reading that book at one point, but there's a scene where they get John Carroll Lynch in, like, at work, to like interrogate him about like, oh, we just want to talk to you about some stuff. And then as soon as he realizes they think he's the Zodiac, he's like, oh, and by the way, all of that blood in the backseat of my car was because of some chickens I cut up for dinner that night. Like, he just volunteers that for no reason. It's such a good movie. But yeah, outside of that, I don't know what order I want to do these. Well, you know what, I'll follow up because it's from last week. I have played more Nightreign. I like that game. I have some reservations. Primarily in me and my friends are starting to get a little sick of seeing a lot of the same bosses over and over. It's like because there's 3 nights, quote unquote, that you play, and you play for 2 full days. So like day 1, then you like the circle closes in to a specific area, fight your first boss, circle expands again. You do that again, and then you fight the final boss. Those 2, like, sub-bosses you fight at the end of each day, there is not a lot of variety in those pools. And also, each of the big, like, Night Lords that you choose to fight have a different, like, a different pool of possible bosses that could be there. And they just maybe don't have enough variety to make multiple run attempts feel different. The amount of Deathrite birds me and my friends have fought, we are so fucking sick of seeing the Deathrite bird.
Deathrite birds.
Yeah.
Deathrite birds.
It's the birds with the big skulls that summon the gates of Babylon for some reason.
I see. They summon the gates of Babylon? Okay.
Yeah, they like the Fako thing or Fako.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no! I've never played that game even.
The Fate Go thing. I'm disappointed.
I'm disappointed too. I don't even know how that happened.
Been betrayed.
The classes in that game are pretty neat. I've found a few that I just kind of like to stick to. Something I do really appreciate about that game, and I feel like the multiplayer social pressure component actually adds a lot in this variety, is it really feels... So every time you select a boss, they go, hey, this is what this boss is weak to. And you really want to have a weapon or some way to do that sort of elemental damage before you go into one of those fights, because it really does help a lot, especially if all 3 of you have that. Also important is that some of those bosses have either components of the fight where you're going to want to have a ranged mode of attack, whether that be spells or a bow, or some of those bosses just fly around all the fucking time, and you're gonna be struggling if all you have is melee. All in all to say, I think that these design decisions are very important in getting people experimenting and playing around and going maybe a little bit beyond their comfort zone. I don't know if you're like me, but when I play one of these games, I'll pick up a weapon, I'll equip it to see what the moveset is, go, oh, that's neat, maybe another playthrough, and then go back to whatever big sword I was using.
I definitely... I mean, I fall into certain styles depending. No, I try to sort of deliberately... Elden Ring, I sort of deliberately push myself to be sort of like 2 big swords, but also magic. And that took effort. It took effort to not just be, oh, I'm 2 big swords.
Yeah, I've been 2 big swords for a while now in my Elden Ring playthrough.
I'm 2 big swords.
I'm 2 big swords. But Nightreign, it's like, the boss is weak to fire. We just gave you a legendary like flame whip. Are you not gonna use it? And it's like,
Yeah.
You know. I just made that one up. But like, there's different examples like that. This does also unfortunately carry me to my next point. Sometimes you can just get a bad RNG run, and that sucks. Like, just because like those runs take a bit, so it can suck to get to the boss, and everyone kind of, you can feel the room is like, oh, this is gonna be kind of tricky to make this fight happen, which is unfortunate, but overall still having a fun time. There are also really cool like random events for each of the different like areas that can pop up. Like suddenly like a big dragon will show up in the mountains that like continuously raises your frostbite meter, but if you kill it, you get a huge resistance to frostbite, which like really helps for the Night Lord when you finally get to it. And there's a lot of really cool stuff like that. Similarly, there's like an event in like the swamp where it's like if you make it to this tree after braving some extremely scarlet rot blighted swampland, you get like a huge max HP boost and stuff like that. I think is really fun, especially because as the circle closes in and you and your friends are out doing something, trying to prepare as best you can for the final boss fight, it causes a real like argument schism within the group of like, do we want to maybe play it safe and clear out these areas for guaranteed bonuses, or do we want to attempt to do this harder thing, possibly eating shit and losing progress? But if we succeed, we're going to get a huge buff. And weighing those options is actually pretty fun, especially as like a team dynamic if you're playing with, you know, people that you can communicate with. And last thing is that I feel like this is maybe one of the better OSTs for a while. Like, a lot of the Night Lord themes are really good. I like Souls games and, like, the music and stuff. I typically don't listen to a lot of those songs, like, outside of the game, just because it's not really the vibe.
No, I'm not someone putting on fucking, the theme for the... What's the guy? The guy from Bloodborne. The guy with the moonlight sword.
Ludwig.
Yeah, I'm not someone out here putting on Ludwig's theme and going, yeah, there's bangs, right?
I was doing that for I think the only FromSoft boss theme I can think of where I would do that is Lady Maria's theme, which I like a fair bit, but that's kind of the exception. But the boss fight music in these like this game, for whatever reason, like I really like it. I do think I am obviously not a story-oriented game. All of the character classes have these little quests you can go on to unlock backstory. I haven't really encountered any of that yet, or felt the need to do it. My friends who have done it said that they're like all right. It's nothing that exciting, but they're pretty well done. I wish we got more for some of these bosses, because they, at least like visually and like even like the theme song for them, I'm like, this is an interesting guy. What's his deal? And I wish I kind of knew a little bit more about him.
And his deal is nothing. It's Nightreign. This ain't a real one. This is the multiplayer.
There's one of them is cool, and honestly, I think one of the hardest bosses in that game is a madness-inducing like goat demon statue man that will also sometimes. Yeah, and sometimes randomly he'll show up on the map, and his whole deal is you make like Faustian pacts with him, where he's like, "I'll give you a bunch." He's like, "Hey, do you want to get to max level right now? Okay, every time, so you're max level, but every time you use an Estus, you go down a level." And stuff like that is really cool. You get the option to do that before his boss fight, but also you can just start hitting him to activate the boss. And my friend Trick is a avid believer that all of those options are traps and suck. So whenever we're playing with a random, he sprints to the boss and starts to aggro it before the other player can get the chance to make it deal. Because he's like, no, you're gonna die.
Are you not aware of Faust?
Yes, basically. That's a good friend right there. Just like shows up to your house to punch out the devil.
No dealing with the devil. Absolutely not. We're not gambling our soul today.
It's good. But yeah, overall enjoy Nightreign. Me and my friends have been talking, and we're not sure. Like, after we all beat each of the Night Lords once, I think there's like a pool of like 7, I think, at the start, and when you beat 4, you unlock the ability to attempt to do the final like boss, like Night Lord run or whatever. I think after we all beat them once, I don't know if we're gonna really stick with it. They said that at a later date they're going to patch in essentially a hard mode run equivalent for all of the Night Lords. And if they have a greater variety of things going on during the actual run portion, I think we might be on board for that. But if it's just, oh, this is the same thing, but like the stats are more fucked, then like I don't really know that we're gonna care. But yeah, as a fun distraction to do with friends, I've enjoyed the 15 or so hours I've spent with it. More so than my experience with the Switch 2, which it's a cool console. There ain't nothing for it.
Nothing for it.
No.
Unless you're a Mario Kart person. And also, possibly, there is nothing for it if you are a Mario Kart person.
Oh, really?
I
have not played the game.
I have not played the game. I don't know if you've seen footage for this new Mario Kart. So all the tracks are in like an open world, and one of the like default modes, the mode they're hyping up, is like you drive between the courses, and it like consumes a lap of the course. And it's like, no, don't you want tracks with like with like turns and like I look at that game and I go, that game seems not good. It just doesn't seem like a good. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I got it just because it was the bundle one, and I wanted something. I'm honestly more excited for that Bravely Default remaster, which is a game I bought and never played.
Yeah, I played some of it.
I have a feeling I'll like that game.
I played some of it, but I hadn't actually played like a Final Fantasy before, and so I was like, "Wow, what is all these fucking vocations and jobs?" And I was, "What the hell is all this?"
Yeah. The screen is bigger, which is cool, but also too, I'm mostly playing these things docked, so
yeah. The thing about 3DS era JRPGs is they've all the characters have got little like they don't have legs. They have little like
stubs.
Stubs that they stand on. And for years I've been going like, oh, they look like K-On! Characters, and there we go. That's my primary thought about Bravely Default.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it for me.
Nice. In record timing, on account of the fact there's only the two of us today.
Yeah.
And you had not got back from like a combo breaker or something.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about Ultraman. We got 3 more episodes. Episode 4 or 43 by some counts, is called Challenge: Terror of the Blood-Sucking Saucer. Featuring Commander Black and the saucer creature Deimos.
Wow, yeah. Commander Black got the easiest title credit for these episodes ever.
Yeah. He just kind of shows up. He just goes, "Yeah, I'm here."
Yep.
I summon Space Saucer.
Ooh, drat! That one didn't work. Back to the drawing board.
Here's the thing. I do like that he's increasingly getting like, Black Star, please send someone that can beat a fucking Ultraman. I stop embarrassing me. Deimos arrives on Earth and kills 8 people by sucking all their blood out. Where have I heard the name Deimos before? Deimos is the planet that the father of Ultra blew up with the Ultra Key. I don't know why Deimos is here. Okay. The cops stop by the Miami's place and let them know that they've been doing...
Can I say how I think they get away with this in the stupidest way possible in the official localization? I don't know if this is true, but I think this is going off the booklet that I have at least.
Okay.
This Deimos is without an I after the E. So it's like Demos almost. And I think the planet was Deimos with an I.
Okay.
It's dumb, I know.
Okay. The cops stop by the Miami's place and let them know that they've been doing map analysis of the attacks, and this house is at the center of the circle. Gen retreats to his room and stares out the window to the stars in the sky. It's a
Gen's like,
challenge.
all that blood in the backseat was from those chickens I cut up.
Yep. It's a challenge, he thinks. I accept your challenge, but don't hurt any more innocents. Mini Deimos splits up into like 4 pieces and spreads out to kill more people, but one of them goes and hides in a bucket in the police station. Gen encounters a strange, gaunt-looking guy who identifies Leo and tells him to surrender. So long as he fights, the people he cherishes will be in danger. Gen fights this guy and chases him around, and after a couple minutes, he finds the guy collapsed. He wakes up and he's like, "Who are you? What am I doing on the ground? Sorry, I gotta go." Gen realizes the danger he's putting Toru and the Miami family in. He leaves a note for Toru and leaves town. Meanwhile, Toru looks for Gen, in despair over losing the last connection to his old life. Meanwhile, I'm losing it because Gen rumor code him at the first sign of trouble. The cops find the Deimos in the bucket, and one of them gets got before they catch it. Gen hears about it on the radio and calls up the station and tells them to wait for him before doing anything to the creature. The cops do not do this on account of the fact that Gen is not a police officer. And they accidentally free Deimos, which summons its separated parts. It unifies and grows into a giant saucer creature with a melting green foam. It melts people and buildings. Toru spots Gen running to the scene, but he doesn't spot Gen turn into Leo. Leo saves the top half of a building, which, like, I don't know that we can do anything with that half man.
Yeah, he gently puts that down, and I was just like, I don't... I think it's a lost cause.
If there's no one in there, I don't think we're, like, building the rest of the building and then perching that on top again. I don't think that's how this works. But I guess Gen isn't an architect, and so doesn't necessarily understand. And then Leo destroys Deimos with a jumping laser blast, with all the pieces of Deimos flying around and burning up. At this point, Gen returns to Toru, and Toru hugs Gen and cries. Gen assures him he had good reasons to leave, and Toru yells that he doesn't care about his reasons. The narrator informs us that the battle isn't over. Commander Black will summon a new saucer creature from Black Star. Next time on Ultraman, Leo versus Black Gallon. The end. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Toru. I thought Toru was alright this episode. I think Toru is kind of like the last bit of Leo left, and he's doing his best. You've got his whole stuff around getting abandoned by Gen and being really, upset about, happy to see him, but also really mad at him still for leaving. I think I think I can see the evidence of him trying to inject some stuff.
I can as well. This is rubbing up against the thing we talked about last time, where it is increasingly becoming absurd that he does not trust him enough to just let him know the full truth. Kind of my issue with it.
I think there's a point in the 3rd episode where they head off into the night together to go hunt down a saucer creature, and I'm like, what does Toru think Gen is going to do? What does he think's going to happen? I can understand Gen going out, but why is Toru going with him? Why? What? Were you gonna get there and run away? Or was stupid? This saucer creature I'm not as hot on as the first 3 we had. I think it's
I like his dumb dangly little legs.
You like his dumb dangly little legs. I do like when he dies. When it's all the little pieces flying around while it's on fire and wailing.
Yes.
I think that's pretty good. It's pretty effective.
It did make me think. So, like, I wasn't surprised when they all got together and became, like, a big giant guy, because, like, it's Ultraman. But it did make me think, like, I feel like there's something to be done in an episode of one of these shows where, like, the enemy is relatively tiny and there's multiple of them all over the place. And you know who is not well equipped to handle a problem of that
Ultraman.
magnitude? A big giant single guy.
Yeah.
um,
You know who's more equipped? Ultra 7.
Ultra 7
Ultra
can go
7.
tiny.
You can go tiny. You can go normal size. Um yeah, they don't really. It's weird that we're so deep into Ultraman and they don't really play with the ideas of Ultraman very often.
No, and we're back to part of that. I feel like is especially after such a dramatic shift. Like there is a core idealized form of an Ultraman plot
Mm-hmm.
that they lean back in on whenever they get nervous, like a
Yeah,
cornered animal.
a platonic ideal derogatory.
Yeah, I'm really like I'm starting to become like fundamentally, I think, antagonistic towards it the more that it starts to overtake stuff that I like more when they deviate and have better ideas.
The more we watch of Ultraman, old and new, the more and more like some of the more creative original episodes of Ultraman rise in my estimation.
Mhm.
Because they're still relevant to the show. Like I think My Home is Earth with Jamila. I is
One of the
you know we
all-timers.
we watched Arc and we watched that Arc movie, and like that episode of the original Ultraman contains criticisms of that Arc movie, right?
Yes.
Only the words are beautiful or whatever, and it's like it's by now you should have stepped out of the shadow of the criticisms made by writers working on your show in 1966. I feel like, um,
Yeah. Um I I like this is solely the result of how we are watching things, but I am increasingly becoming more concerned of like what we've watched post return and what we've watched of the modern stuff are just these two weird moldy buns of the Ultraman experience that make me go like, "Oh no, like you figured out what Ultraman is and you've just stuck with it decades
it,
upon decades."
the real killer, right? The real kicker for me is going to be Tiga. I like that's like the one that's like it's the big return and everyone's like, yeah, this show rules. If I'm like, I don't know about this, then I don't know. I might just despair of Ultraman overall. Uh but
I do hate
the
to say it, but I do feel like the one thing I have seen of the fucking post return era of Ultraman that I'm like, oh okay, like I see that there could still be some stuff here. Was that fucking American Netflix movie? Which I know you don't care for as much as I
yeah.
do, but yeah.
um
It's just this is a long roundabout discussion to say it's a bummer that like this is the core plot, like central plot of most Ultraman that they're comfortable telling. This is the template. And whenever we need to like everything bends to adhere to this status quo of doing this plot.
Fate drives them towards it. Like
Yes.
whenever they try anything else, they face adversity and go, sorry we
Yeah.
tried, and then go back to this. uh Maybe
Which
the
is
day
also
will
a
come,
bummer
maybe
because,
not.
like, on paper, I don't think this is a bad one of those. I think it's pretty all right. Like, I think
Yeah,
it's fun when there's a little puppet guy killing people. It's cool.
yeah, I think the I like that I like this little thing strangling that cop until he goes blue. And
Yeah.
it's kind of good stuff. And I do think the emotional core of this episode, with Gen and in Gen and Toro, I think is good. So I'm in favor.
It's
Uh,
too baked down by everything, I think, for me. Like, I think it is a good emotional core to have, like, hey, this kid feels abandoned, like, he has, like, truly no one else on his life to, like, rely on. But how we got there, I think, weighs real hard for me still, unfortunately.
I have some notes on this episode from Mel. Thoughts. It's funny that Mac is still in the OP when they've been annihilated. That is funny. The kaiju of this stretch of the show may be a case of creativity through limitations. Yeah, it's because budget plus UFO fad reasons push them to make a specific type of puppet kaiju, but there's a lot of creativity on display in their designs, all things considered. Yeah, I'm in favor of these puppets, but I'm not a fan of this puppet specifically. I think this puppet's a little bit of a letdown compared to the other three we had, but I might be in the minority. I've also got Gen enters the don't follow aliens corridor. Yeah, where we get the honestly, I do like this bit. The alien possesses that one guy, the really gaunt guy, to attack him in that one place they're always shooting these tense confrontations.
Yeah.
I thought that scene was very good. We also never discussed the political science textbook in English on Gen's desk. Gen has a political science textbook in English on his desk. Gen, okay. Cool building destruction effects. Dancing flaming UFO guys at the ending is cool, yes. Funniest thing in the world is the narrator saying new sources, each more terrifying than the last, while cutting away to a flying frog puppet. That is true.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Mel's final little note: the episode thoughts. The episode feels like it's continuing the trend of episode 42. Maybe it's me personally getting over the hump of this is what the show is now, or just these episodes are just better written than the Black Dome one. But I do think it is worth saying that this is a new style / formula for Ultraman, i.e. Gen has no defense team and has to investigate kaiju more or less alone as a civilian, which feels more Kamen Rider coded. And it's one that I do appreciate and enjoy. It's just obviously would go down smoother if this was just a new show and not reinventing a show 3/4 of the way in. Yeah, if it was a new show, we might even find it refreshing, but the context of the show it's in does add several asterisks to that, even for me, who I imagine is the most receptive to all this at the moment. Yeah. It's final writing this one here and now in case I get egg on my face later this batch, which would be funny. Yeah. I suppose lacking the team is new. It kind of doesn't feel new by way of them being like surgically removed for budget reasons. I don't know why that doesn't count to me in my brain.
I think because we had so much of the Gen and Dan, I think there's an argument to be made that their presence doesn't feel so lacking because this show, I feel like, was already not really that invested in the defense team stuff as much, a little bit. Like, we had so much more on Gen's side of things already that, like, it's like almost feels like a formality now that they're not here rather than like a loss. Like, if the Ultra 7 guys died and the last 10 episodes of that show was Dan alone, I think you'd really feel it. You know what I mean? In a way that I don't think that Mac exploding really lands the same way emotionally. And also, the world will not treat Gen any differently. This guy will just keep showing up places and people will listen to him and act as though he has authority for some fucking reason. In a lot of ways. It's bizarre.
Can we stop recording a second? I need to switch microphone.
Oh, yeah.
It was using my wrong fucking microphone.
Oh, no. The whole time?
Yeah. Have you had the backup going or no?
Yes.
Okay, I will probably need it.
Okay.
Let me just have a listen to this back for a second. Yes, we will. Yes, we will need that. what were you talking about?
Oh, I was just saying, the world still acts as though... So sometimes they pay lip service to Gen being just a guy, but also the way that he's treated by everyone is still as though he has some position of authority or is a part of something like Mac. It's really weird. He is just a guy now.
I don't know why he's walking around kind of having a little bit of authority. Why are the Miyamis like, yeah, you're involved? What? How? Mac doesn't exist anymore. Also, Mac doesn't exist anymore, but also no one refers to the fact that he's ex-Mac.
No.
No one refers to Mac once existing.
I thought
they might as well refer to Mac having once existed. Why don't they? Anyway.
I was thinking about this during the part where we get the scene with the two cops right before they get attacked, where they're talking about, like, yeah, this is all the signs of an alien case. And, like, I was sure we were going to get something like, it's a shame Mac isn't here to, like, you know, send this off to. They don't even do that.
Episode 3, we get all the scientists putting their heads together to try to figure out the saucer creatures, and there's, like, no mention of, like, oh, there used to be an organization that did this.
Yeah. So, I've been thinking more broadly, and I was going to maybe give it another week before talking about it, but I do think it is appropriate here as we're having this conversation. I think in recent years there's been a backlash to, oh god, I wish television would go back to Monster of the Week style stuff. I do think that this is a humbling reminder that back then, sometimes...
Shit was a mess,
and the adherence to wanting, like, a specific, like, status quo like this could also be to a show's detriment when there is suddenly no seeming amount of, like, plot congruence, I would call it, between major emotional, like, it's not, this isn't even, because I don't want to complain about this and be like, oh, it's a continuity error, but, like, it's, you want your big emotional beats in a plot to have fallout and, like, send waves down the rest of the story and, like, matter for characters' emotional states or just even the state of their lives, and I don't really feel like they really land that blow with the annihilation of Mac. It's an odd thing. This episode was directed by Isao Maeda and then written by Bunzo Wakatsuki.
Good to know. The special effects director was Yoshiyuki Yoshimura, and Deimos, there's no trivia, but it's a nifty tentacle starfish guy with rareware googly eyes. Maybe the most scrimblow one of these guys so far. There's Mel's note.
It's fairly scrimblow.
It's fairly scrim. Well, what kind of scrimblow rating is it getting, do you reckon?
I mean, it's no Gabo from Croc Legend of the Gagos. It's not even, like, a fucking Jinjo. But, like, I don't like the mouthfeel of a fucking Jinjo. That felt wrong to say. I don't know. It's a friend. It could be a Kirby enemy.
Now that I'm looking more close, I do like the big googly eyes. It is good.
Yeah. Goofy little lad.
Yeah, it does squirt foam from its mouth. All right. Well, do we have anything more to say about this episode?
Nah. It is a alright episode that has to pay for broader series crimes, IMO.
Yeah, now that we've talked about Ultraman Leo at large.
Yeah.
We can move on to episode 5, which has my longest summary this week. Which is called The Shooting Star from Hell, featuring... I don't think Commander Black actually showed up in the featuring this time. Just the saucer creature Black Gallon. Toru breaks the rich kid Kenji's watch and then runs off. Later. That's what happens. Later, Kenji's dad comes along to scold Gen for not raising Toru right. And afterwards, Ayumi gives us the backstory on how rich kid Kenji's watch got broken. Rich Kid Kenji was being an asshole, bragging about his super rare and expensive watch from Europe that he got from his cool dad. And then he talks shit. For some reason, he talks shit about Toru and Ayumi not having a dad.
Oh, you fatherless poors could not relate.
Comically asshole move. And Toru breaks the watch, and for some reason Kenji manages to be mad about this. Sometimes people manage to be mad. So there was there was a news story recently. There was a guy. This is an IRA story. There was a guy who got assassinated, probably by the IRA, after it was revealed that he had been an informant for the British during the Troubles. And he got assassinated. And then the family have raised like a court case against... No, there were accusations made against like Jerry Adams that he was maybe involved. And there was a big court case. He was like, this is like libel. This is slander. One of the two. I can't remember which was relevant. But he won. He won his court case. And though in the BBC article about this, there were quotes like from the family of this guy who was like, they wouldn't let us give like witness testimony, give our testimony in court because of our connection to the thing. So and I was reading this and I was just generally feeling like if a relative of mine turned out to be like working with like MI5 against the IRA and then the IRA killed him, I don't think I could manage to be angry about that. I'd be like, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what happens when you do that. I think I would just have to be like, yeah, fair play. That's how that goes down. And that's how Kenji should have felt about his stupid fucking watch. In the ensuing fight, the watch got broken. Now knowing the full story, Gen goes looking for Toru. He finds him in a playground, looking at the stars. Toru spots a shooting star. Wait, that shooting star is coming closer. Hang on a minute, that's a saucer creature. That's right, it's Black Gallon. Gen saves Toru and sends the boy running off on his own while he turns into Leo. Black Gallon is a guy in a suit-style kaiju. This is not a puppet.
No.
And for a minute, it seems like it had... Is this... I seem to remember this one's not a puppet.
No, it's a guy in a suit.
Yeah, for a minute, it seems like it has Leo on the ropes. But Commander Black calls Black Gallon back. The next day, Rich kid Kenji finds a cool-looking meteorite. His dad works in the meteorite business, so he's going to impress his dad with his cool meteorite. But wait just a second. Here comes Toru, and he recognizes this meteorite. Rich kid Kenji, that's a saucer creature. Naturally, Kenji thinks Toru is full of shit and heads off to his dad with the cool meteorite. Gen follows up, visiting the meteorite company. I don't remember what kind of company this is, that Kenji's dad runs. Kenji's dad is pretty fucked off that Gen is not actually here for his daily berating on behalf of Toru, but is instead here to claim that the cool meteorite his rich son found is in fact a saucer creature. Sorry, I'm laughing at my own jokes. Is in fact a saucer creature. Gen, you're out of your mind. This is my cool rich son's meteorite. I'm gonna show you. He runs some tests on the meteorite and Gen's like, damn, I guess it might not be a saucer creature. He leaves, defeated in the marketplace of ideas. And then the mother of Ultra appears. It's Mrs. Miyami. She tells Gen it's not manly to get so down. If you're sure of a thing, you have to be stubborn. She will contradict herself next week. You have to be stubborn, just like her dead husband. He can't be that stubborn if he's dead. Anyway, this inspires Gen, and he heads back just in time to save Kenji's dad and his rich son Kenji from the saucer creature, which is very much alive and attacking them. Everyone except Gen escapes the building, and then both Black Gallon and Leo erupt from the building and have a big fight. Leo wins, destroys Black Gallon, and Kenji's dad's rich son points out that Gen saved him. Kenji's dad feels like this could all have been avoided if he listened to Gen, and now Gen, who was trying to save their lives, is dead. At this point, Gen reappears and both Kenji and his dad thank him for saving their lives. Gen says it's actually the Miyami's mother they should be thanking, but he accepts their gratitude with a smile. We then cut back to him crying in pain as he's treated for his injuries, while the rest of the Miyamis laugh at him. Meanwhile, Commander Black summons Black Star Unit 6. Next time on Ultraman, Leo versus Blizzard. Sorry, the idea of a dad thinking of his son as my rich son was really something I stumbled on in writing the summary, and I found it so funny I just stuck to it.
I'm a big fan of Kenji. Instead of calling him Kenji, calling him Kenji's dad's rich son. That's a good one.
Yeah. I was pretty pleased with that. The joys exist for me, really. So this episode is Kid of the Week, but this is one of the ones where the kid sucks.
Yeah.
This kid fucking sucks.
This kid sucks.
For a minute, I thought it was the return of the guy whose dad is a watchmaker who also dresses in a suit.
Oh.
And why are so many kids walking around in suits in this version of Leo? What's going on?
That's how you know that they're rich.
That's how you know that when the child wears a suit, that's how you know they're rich. That's where it's this is like I don't know. This one's
I felt we delved into ace territory when the masculinity shit came up. I'm not gonna lie. That made me roll my going back and deciding to be a confrontational asshole is what saves the day, but like not actually that part. It's just that he gets the courage and the stubborn, like, you know, I guess I don't know what even word I'm trying to look for here, but he gains the spirit to go back and like give him a piece of his mind and be like, hey, no, this is a fucking alien. And he walks in just in time to just do the hero thing. And then
he doesn't actually persuade them. He's he's just there.
He's just there to bail him out. And he's like, oh, this was the life lesson I learned, to be more of a man. And it's like, no, I don't really think you learned that. I think you just happened to walk back in at the ideal time to do the thing you always do already. It's weird. I
think the real life lesson here is when you meet a rich kid, don't trust their parents.
No. I felt like this was a little bit of a filler one.
Yeah. You know, it's, you know, you get ones that are just kind of rote. This is one that's kind of rote.
I kind of wish that there was more between Toru and the kid. Like, Gen kind of supersedes it in the investigation of the actual flying saucer creature. And I feel like they maybe could have done more with Toru. I don't know.
I would like to read Mel's notes at the top here. These are short compared to the other one. Toru, what's your problem? Oh, I see. This is very reasonable. These notes getting written live watching the episode. Nice that they actually brought back Toru being upset about his dad after like 40 episodes, though it feels weird not referencing Kaoru or Momoko alongside. That's true. I like how the entire Miyama family hates this rich dad. True. Halfway through the episode, voice, wait, what the fuck? The rich dad is Jun. I also hadn't noticed this.
Wait, oh my god, I did not notice. That's Jun. So funny.
Why does the kaiju have sprinkler laser beams? Good question. And last note from Mel, tongue season. Yeah, this kaiju do be attacking Leo with the tongue. It's like wrapping the tongue around Leo and then like hurling him around in the sky.
Leo severs the tongue, and then for some reason the rest of the kaiju does just explode, which is really funny.
That's what happens to people, you know.
True. Yeah. That's why when you burn your tongue or you bite your tongue, it hurts so bad. There's miniature explosions. It hurts the rest
of your body.
Yeah.
Miniature explosions in your inside. Yeah. This app, the like Toru seems to be getting like a lot, like the most of the like narrative now. I guess there's no one left
I was about to say,
the rest of it.
I'd hope so.
So it, you know, I guess that, you know, in that sense it does make sense, but it's like we do get the return of him thinking about his dad.
But just his dad.
but just his dad. Just his dad. Once again, for some reason, they have decided that they're not going to talk about Momoko and Kaoru.
No, there's new women. There's new women to make him food and give him a place to crash. It's fine.
Not only are there new women to give him food and a place to crash, he's had a new sister whose dad is dead assigned to him. Ayumi just could be Kaoru in this episode. As rich kid Kenji talks about the stupid, you fatherless children. Anyway. Leo is has been the most just intriguing me with an idea and then punishing me 30 seconds later. Sure.
Yeah.
Has just been how it's been. Who made this episode?
This one was directed by Toru Toyama and then written by Shigemitsu Taguchi. For some reason, I'm noticing this now with the booklet. Sometimes it says writers instead of writer, but then we'll still only list one name. But also, half the time it's using writer and half the time it's using writers. I don't know what. Someone should have proofread this.
Mm-hmm.
Toru Toyama, I did see he did the I Saw a Goddess in the Far North, which is the one with North Satan, the goddess of Nikkei.
We did like that episode because that had North Satan.
And
North
also
Satan
did
was good.
The Revived Merman, which I do not remember us having any strong feelings about.
What was the Revived Merman?
The one where they went to Hokkaido.
Oh, and there was merman.
Weird sea monster guy. Yeah.
We like that one. We like that scene in the house where the guy gets killed.
Yeah,
that was good. That was some good classic Ultraman horror shit. Mel's stuff. Special effects director Nobuo Yojima. Blizzard, no trivia, but the sound effects and design of this kaiju are extremely Mirrorman coded to me. Seems like we're just back to the suits again now. Yes, for puppets, another idea we're gonna flirt with and give up on, I guess. The next espisode's Saucer Creature is also just a kaiju as well. There's a puppet as well, but for the fight, it's a guy in a suit.
This struck me as maybe they had some lying around. I don't know what the production time is on these, but if they're halfway through, you might as well finish making them, maybe. Too.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
It might just be residual.
It could be. Do we have anything else to say about this episode?
No, I'm kind of shrug emoji about this one.
Yeah, this one's kind of,
I think the kid being an asshole is fun, but
yeah. We did get a classic everyone, the people think that the hero is dead and then he turns up. He didn't go oi like they used to.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we're missing. Maybe we need the hero to go oi again. And that'll be the secret source.
Mm-hmm.
Although we did determine that one time the secret source is actually making Gen's actor suffer.
True. Yeah, he hasn't looked like a crying puppy.
No, he needs to be more pathetic. More, mm-hmm. Yeah. We can talk about episode 6, which is called The Ghost Girl, featuring the saucer creature Blizzard. Scientists are researching the saucer creatures led by a man named Nishina. I'm sure all these guys will be fine. The saucer creature Blizzard descends to Earth and Gen and Toru run out to catch it. This is where I'm still sort of not sure what Toru thinks Gen is going to do. They find a mysterious girl with a doll walking alone in the night, and they fail to catch Blizzard. Soon, scientists from the Saucer Creature Research Project start getting frozen to death. Toru comes across the mysterious girl getting bullied by random children, and he puts a stop to it. He looks after the girl, but she doesn't seem to want to speak to him. He tells her his name, and she finally speaks to tell him hers. She's Mayuko. Toru takes her to the Miyami's place, but while Toru steps away, the doll speaks. "Remember your mission, Mayuko." As soon as Mayuko sees Gen, she flees, and Gen immediately concludes that she must be from Black Star, but Toru is having none of it. She's just a girl, a poor, bullied girl. The next day, the two stop by Nishine's place. Remember, the scientist? They meet a guard, and Gen asks if anyone has passed by. The guard says, nah, no one. Well, no one except the little girl, but a little girl wouldn't kill anyone, would she? Inside, Nishina is getting frozen to death by Mayuko's flying doll. Gen and Toru fight the doll, and then Mayuko appears. She starts trying to use the doll to kill Gen, but Toru puts himself in the way, and she can't freeze Toru, despite the insistence of the doll. Mayuko runs. She kills a guard on the way for bonus points, but she does run. She reaches a frozen lake and calls for Blizzard. The saucer creature emerges from the lake where it's been hiding and beams up Mayuko, who casts one last look back at Toru. With Mayuko aboard, the saucer turns into a guy in a suit kaiju, just like last episode. This is Blizzard. Blizzard starts with cold attacks, but Leo alters his skin to withstand them. But then Blizzard attacks with fire, but then Leo uses the magic cape to put out the fire. Leo grabs Blizzard's saucer form, throws it into the sky, and explodes it while Mayuko's face flashes against the flames. Goodbye, Mayuko. Toru cries out Mayuko's name, and her doll falls from the sky. Gen and the Miyamis appear, and Toru runs to the mother. She tells him to cry as much as he wants. Boys have to do that sometimes too. Meanwhile, Commander Black is getting a little frustrated. Black Star, please send a saucer creature that can defeat Leo next time on Ultraman Leo. On Ultraman, Leo versus Hangler. The end.
Men will literally invent a new girl to mourn the loss of rather than mourn the loss of the one that already died a few weeks ago. What's going on here?
Mate, this is like you know, he latches onto her so quickly because he's missing Kaoru. Maybe I can see the vision in within the act Toru, but that's about it.
She barely gets anything.
Yeah,
other than
exactly.
She exists as a little girl that holds a doll, and that is almost all it's so...
Yeah, and he's just... He attaches... I think this kind of supports the... He attaches himself to her, like, immediately, and is like, no, Mayuko would never... Mayuko's just a girl. And it's like, you don't know fucking anything about Mayuko. Yeah. He's, like, disproportionately upset over her death in a way that I think works with the fact that his sister died like 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. But I'm, once again, I don't know that like anyone writing scripts on have they had directions from on high to like do not make any mention of Kaoru or Momoko? Are they like writing around this? How much are they collaborating with Gen and Toru's actor in terms of like trying to figure out ways to like have any kind of continuity in the characters? I don't know.
Yep.
But we wind up where we are. How you feel about this episode?
I feel like as far as child antagonists go, this is maybe one of the weaker ones we've had. Unfortunately. I wish Commander... I feel like this episode, too, would have been the perfect opportunity to have a little bit more Commander Black.
For him to interact with Mayuko, yeah.
Yeah, and they don't really use that. He's just kind of like a framing device, more like a... I'm sure we'll get more of him as the show winds down, but, like, for now, he's just kind of a lingering presence that I thought was kind of cool at the... Like, I like the look of him,
lingering
but, like...
will.
Yeah. I like the look of him and, like, the overall aesthetic and vibe, but, like, he's only in these for maybe no more than 10 seconds each, in a way that I kind of wish they started to build him up a little bit more. Again, going back to the thing I'm constantly harping on with these shows is I wish we had antagonists that had more concrete personalities and ideas more, and that character work just still isn't really being done. Yeah, and I didn't feel... I don't know. I think, again, episode that maybe on paper is alright, but, like, the emotional loss and, like, impact of this just did not I didn't feel anything, and I think part of that is because, like, this is just a random child who we met that barely said anything because that seemed to be the direction they wanted to go with, like, the mysterious character archetype. Versus, like, this kid just lost his whole fucking family a few weeks back. It's an odd one.
It's just... It's like... I don't know.
I don't really... I'm kind of whatever on the monster for this one, too, I think.
Once again, guy in suit kaiju instead of the saucer creature puppets. There is a puppet, but it's not the main feature. They have reused that shot of Ultraman Leo jumping directly up and firing a beam like 3 to 4 times now.
Yeah.
They need to... It's not a good shot. It's not an impressive, like, attack.
No.
He jumped straight up and pushed, like, a normal that hits low. It's like, if this is Melty, I'm catching him before he lands. It's that he's fucking done. But I'm like it's like, it's okay, but it's not remarkable to me necessarily.
It's really a problem for these episodes for me, where, like, it has the double duty problem of, like, the transition to this part of the series has been rough, but then also too, I've seen a lot of these ideas before in previous stuff they've already done in this era, and I don't think this is a good version of the alien, like, monster villain this time around is the child. I think we had that done better in 7 and Return, both, from what I can remember. So yeah, it's tough to live up to your past successes.
True. I have some notes from Mel to assist with the discussion of this episode, because I can tell we're running out.
I got not much.
Yeah. Thoughts from Mel. Thought number 1: 3/4 of the way through the show, and Supro have maybe discovered serialized television a little bit. There are growing pains. Thought number 2: this is another thing. Yeah. Do the Miami family know Gen is Leo as well? Because the way they barely put up resistance to them leaving to fight aliens for some reason, it's excluded from the summary, is it's not just Toru going along with Gen. It's also the rest of the family standing there and going, good luck. And it's like, what do you mean? Tell them to stop. What are they going to do?
They're just he's
Ultraman.
This is just Gen's thing,
He runs off and gets nearly killed by the kaiju, and then he gets beaten by Ultraman. He's just kind of there when Ultraman is there. No one's figured out... I think the only person who's ever figured out that anyone is Ultraman is maybe Anne. Right? Because, like, it's the kind of implication of that scene is, like, kind of... No, I kind of knew. It doesn't really change anything. No one else has ever done it. This is just... Anyway. Stupid. Here we go. The Ghost Girl with Spanish guitar. You do get the cool, like, flamenco guitars. Mel thought number 4: clapping that the scriptwriters remembered Toru might have grief over his sister, clearing the lowest of bars. I remember we felt a bit better about the death of the Sakutas after Jiro expressed grief in the Bolton Jr. episode. And I think having a similar episode like that for Toru's own grief helps a bit too. This is kind of how I'm reading the episode. I don't think it's necessarily like... I have to feel like they're kind of sidestepping directly mentioning this stuff, but gesturing towards it. I just feel like maybe there are also people working on the show who are mad about who are mad about it.
Yeah.
Thought number 5, a bit ironic given Dan was in this show once, but this episode in particular with the aliens assassinate scientists plot feels like a 7-coded episode plot. In spite of this, it's fun to have an alien episode that's still playing around with ghost stuff. I like the team of scientists.
It's fun.
At some point in this, thank you, Mel. Toru does say she's lost about Mayuko, and Mel is like, Red, insert the "It's My Go" clip here. Yes, I will. Thank you. I'll put that right here. Thank you, Mel. So many bowls of salad. Yeah, Mel keeping track of the dinner table.
Bowls of salads?
Yeah, the Miami family is just when they're eating, and it's just like so many bowls of salad out on the table. The exploding doll is pretty funny. So is it flopping in front of Toru at the end. Toru does just yell Mayuko, and then a doll falls from the sky at his feet. Good snow and ice effects. Boss, you killed a child. Saying Bunpei Ai is pulling through for us this last stretch. That's a spoiler. I haven't got to that stuff yet, Mel. Thank you. Looping back to my comment that this final thought from Mel. Looping back to my comment at the end of the first episode of this batch, I do feel on the whole pretty good about this batch. Maybe the second one is a bit weaker. Not sure if I reached the acceptance phase of grief or just I can compartmentalize better now that we have got past the jarring feeling of the retool after a couple of episodes. I can at least say that these are enjoyable episodes of television, and that even if all the caveats / asterisks are in place, I still I can at least appreciate there are some efforts to acknowledge the past and how characters felt, Toru specifically, feel about it to some degree. We're sort of a little more down, but it's, this is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm holding on. I'm holding on to Toru. I'm holding on as hard as I can. They have to take me along. I have to hold on to something. So, we'll see. We're not far from the end. Like, we're 3 more weeks? 2 more weeks?
Yeah, so 3.
3 more weeks. I
think part of it is I don't want to feel this conflicted this late into the game.
You want to be kind of come into a conclusion.
Yeah, and I think it's
this
bad
show
that
defies conclusion.
Yes, I think it's bad that I don't feel some sort of fundamental cohesion in my thoughts of this show yet. It's so all over the place. It's
like by now with the rest of the shows we'd decided how we felt about them.
Yeah.
I don't know that there are many last minute pivots, in my opinion, of an Ultraman show so far. I think maybe the finale of Ultra 7 made me go oh, this is incredible. I already liked the show, but the finale just blew me away. But I think maybe Taro's finale
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, it kind of brought me back on board a little somehow. So I don't know how really, but it did.
Yeah, no, I think the character and stuff, Taro is increasingly a show that I feel cooler on as I get away from it, just because I'm I just don't really care for what it's doing, just it's not my thing. But I have a fondness for that final episode with the character stuff that they do, that, like you said, maybe is kind of undeserved, but also I don't know, they make it work.
they pull here's a new bad guy. Who is that? I don't know. It falls apart, but I do like it. Like I said, KOTOR 2, video game that falls apart, but it falls apart beautifully. Anyway. Whereas Leo is just
I feel like I've watched 4 shows.
Yes.
and I like some of them, and I don't care for some of the others. So,
and somehow they're all the same show, and it's just like what is there to think? You can't think. You don't have time to think.
This is the thing that bothers me talking about this show in a way that I do think is starting to tend me towards a more negative outlook. But for me, trying to think about this thing and like do any amount of criticism, it's hard to approach it the same way I do the other shows, because as a creative object made by a team of artists, the show just doesn't really feel like it has that like intent behind it, or like because it keeps
it's a show that advertises its own backstory constantly, right? In a way that is like, I can't watch this as a TV show. This is like, everything I think about Leo will be about the production of it.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
In sort of like different ways to like Ace, which has like the big thing about it that you know that happened, but also there's like a show to have a coherent thoughts on, and my coherent thoughts are, get out of my face, do not approach me ever again.
Whereas this is so fragmented that I honestly see how people can like this show a lot, because I do think if you're into Ultraman stuff, I think that this could be a very easy show where people who want to do the work can pick out the shit that they like and form, like, this is what this show means to me. And, like, maybe there's some other stuff there they don't particularly care for, but, like, they really latch onto the elements they do like. I feel like, for me, part of the issue is that the elements I do like are there so briefly that it's hard for me to have anything to latch onto. Everything feels so wispy with this show.
I mean, we mentioned that Tumblr post from last week that talked about how, like, every episode of this show, Dan's trying to kill Gen with training, and I'm like, every episode for like a fifth of the show, and then the rest of the show that never happens again. But if you're in the right headspace, if you're the right kind of person, you can watch this show and be like, yeah, Dan was constantly trying to kill Gen with training. And
I could see how someone could maybe be in, like, if you're someone who maybe latches on to the iconography and like the morphology or structure of like an Ultra show, like, there's a lot of, I guess, exciting or fundamental status quo changes that I could see how maybe someone who has seen like even more of these shows than we have, because you got to keep in mind a lot of modern Ultraman fans that I'm sure even the ones listening to the show probably watched a lot of the more like modern reimagining stuff before going back and watching this shit. So I could maybe see, after a long time of having seen a lot of Ultra shows that follow a strict template or like formula with like the team, the Ultra, the aliens, how this could be exciting just for how weird and different it is. But my problem, and I think our problem more broadly, is the way it shifts between those different states of being feels really rough. And like it wants to throw out everything else that came before in a way that I wish there was more of a progression of one idea leading to the next, and how that's having an impact on the central characters of the show, rather than feeling like, okay, we're going scorched earth and we're going to start a new town over here, and when we find out that it's on a polluted water table, we're going to start a new town over here.
Yeah.
It's a weird fucking show. I don't know. Weird. Like I that episode you were gone, I did say I don't know if I think the show is dog shit, and I still kind of am wrestling with that. It's like I don't know if I like or dislike the show fully entirely yet. I may never know.
Yeah, somebody's gonna say, "Oh, where would you rank Leo on your list of Ultramans?" I don't fucking know.
The number will change every time you look at it. It's Schrodinger's rating.
I did. I threw up a casual. I was bored and I was at work and I threw up a casual list of.
I saw that
ranking. Yeah, and I was just like, I don't. Where did I put Leo? That's a good question. I put Leo at number 5. Honest. Okay, that's quite high. Okay, below it is Blazer. I was like, yeah, sure, maybe we'll see. But yeah, it's interesting. We will see.
Yeah. I think the landing's gonna have a lot of a huge influence on how I feel about the whole thing.
Yeah, maybe they'll just
because it's at the end of this whole journey, what do they have to say about it all? You know what I mean?
They bring back training one more time.
Dan might actually
murder him.
That might actually make me mad at this point. Fuck you.
You don't get to do that. You don't get to do. You abandoned it at the first sign of trouble. All right. Well, who made this episode? I know Boompai wrote it.
Boompai wrote it. This is also directed by Toru Toyama.
All right. Well, special effects director is Nobuo Yojima once again, and no, what?
Huh?
Did I read the wrong what? I read the wrong trivia for the last episode. So episode 5, aka episode 44, special effects director was Nobuo Yojima, but Black Garon, this says Black Garon. I got Black Gallon. Designed by Tetsuo Osawa. Not a friend like Earthy, but it's all right. I didn't expect a new suit kaiju at this point, TBH, after all the background trivia. Yeah, same. And now, the trivia that I read for the last episode is now relevant for this episode. Special effects director Nobuo Yojima. Also, Blizzard, no trivia, but the sound effects and design of this kaiju are extremely Mirror Man coded to me. Seems we're just back to suits again now.
See, you did say the Blizzard part last episode, and I assumed I had thought that was just a name swap, but that makes more sense.
That was me being. I had scrolled down too early. There we go. Do we have anything more to say about this episode of Ultraman?
No. I unfortunately feel like I am getting more negative on this show than I would like to be, but that's how it goes.
How it is.
Yeah.
I have some color timers.
Yeah.
Episode 43. I don't know what episode that is. Maybe 4.
Yeah.
Episode 4, 2 minutes 13 seconds. Episode 5, 1 minute 21 seconds, and then 2 minutes and 29 seconds. And then episode 6 is 3 minutes and 31 seconds. Oof, that's over. It's the first one. They mostly kept under the time of 2 minutes and 40 seconds, which is what Ultraman Leo is.
So hyper specific.
Yeah. Do you remember the login for the email address?
Fuck no. I might be logged in. Do you want me to check?
Oh yeah, go check. I'm not.
Oh, I think yeah.
Do we have any emails?
Yes, we do. Apple Podcasts, brand new design resources for your podcast art.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We need that. We need redesigns for our podcast art. No, we don't.
Yeah, that's all we got. That's just telling us to use Canva? Fuck you. I could have told you that.
Mel just slaps together some art and it works.
Yeah.
It's fine. We got some upcoming art for a complete one-shot episode that I was like, oh, this is you maybe put in a little too much effort for this one shot. And she was like, no, I didn't. What are you doing? No, I did not. It was really easy. I was like, okay, looks good.
I do, as this being the podcast I've been a part of, where I'm on the production side of things involved the least, has been fascinating to see how other people do it. Someone who was there's a podcast logo and it always stays the same guy. And also, intro music is 30 seconds long max. Maybe that's too long, guy. Oh, yeah. When we do the finale, I always hope to get, because we've done the playing the anniversary version of the opening. I always aim to try to get a little bit of
audio that I can put at the beginning of the episode before the intro, just to kind of because otherwise it's a really long song and no podcast audio for ages.
Yeah.
And something psychologically, I think, about getting a little bit of audio right at the beginning, I think works. This is you're learning how I trick you, dear listener, into liking the podcast.
That's your little Brucey bonus for the day.
That's my little Brucey bonus.
You didn't think I remembered, but I did, fucker.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't think you'd remember. I did not remember that you said Brucey bonus until just now.
I have a fond memory of that, in part because I think it was Cydric. It was one of our regular emailers. I'm pretty sure it was Cydric.
It was Cydric, because Cydric is British,
in, was like, yes, and he emailed in to be like, I could tell Brad was trying to do that for like weeks on end, and it was really cringy when he finally did it. And like, I'm happy that energy was felt, because that was 100% accurate to
that you were trying to get off a Brucey bonus.
Yeah, I was trying to squeeze one in there.
I see. Yeah. Well, I should show you who Bruce Forsyth is.
Sure.
As this podcast is like the record shortest podcast in it's not the record shortest podcast in history, but it is short compared to usual. Bruce, I've looked up Bruce podcast.
Do you want to see like the world of like deeply troubling like Nikkei meme videos that I've gone down?
Okay, yes. I'm first going to show you an image of Bruce Forsyth. This is the man that mentions the Brucey bonus.
Oh.
Can I just say, I just posted this just as I saw Mel is typing. Mel is... I saw Mel is typing and then hit enter, and immediately Mel came back with, what?
Yeah.
There we go. Here's a little Brucey bonus.
Yeah.
So, Nikkei, you're telling me. So that's Bruce Forsyth, by the way.
Yeah.
He's like a TV presenter, very famous. He's fucking dead.
Damn. Rest in peace.
He was the presenter of Strictly Come Dancing for ages, which
he is a very friendly, fatherly presence.
Yeah, you would know the show that as Dancing with the Stars in America. I believe.
Oh, okay. All right.
Based on a British show called Strictly Come Dancing.
Okay, that's fun. Was it the same gimmick where it was like celebrities and shit?
Yeah, so celebrities dance with professional dancers, yeah.
Yes, okay. Yeah. My mom was an avid Dancing with the Stars fan.
Yeah. A blind man won the last one. It was what's his name? He's a comedian. Chris something. Comedian blind. Yes, there we go. Chris McCausland. Is a comedian who went blind at some point, and he did Strictly Come Dancing. Oh. It was a big deal. I did not watch, but he was apparently very good. Yeah. I don't watch. It's been years since I watched Strictly Come Dancing. Not because not because
at this point.
Yeah, I have kind of caught a few episodes. I've kind of caught a couple of episodes of Doctor Who and been like, they should stop making this show. They should stop making this show forever. They should axe Doctor Who again. It's about time. Man, they should. Yeah. Anyway. It's bad. They made me. Have you heard anything about the most evil episode of television that they've made recently?
No, I don't know shit about Doctor Who.
So Eurovision, there's been an ongoing controversy with Eurovision, where Israel is a member.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a few years ago, Israel won, and the winner is where Eurovision goes the next year.
Oh.
And so Eurovision was hosted in Tel Aviv. And there was a lot of protests of, okay, don't watch Eurovision. Don't pay any attention to Eurovision.
Yes, this I did see. I wasn't sure entirely what was going on with it, but I do know that, there's been people being like, don't fucking, you don't need to watch Eurovision type stuff.
And then, I guess there's been a couple of years of buffer now. People still generally sort of like, about Eurovision. And also, but someone at the first episode written by a trans woman of Doctor Who is about Eurovision, about the intergalactic song contest hosted by the British, like one of the British like hosts of Eurovision, and they had genocide victims try to interfere with the show to kill a bunch of people, and the Doctor went like 24 mode torturing.
Oh my god!
torturing this person, and then at the end, another member of the people that had been genocided sang a song at Eurovision, and that was the right way to do things. So they should
it's like
not
evil
make
Macross.
They should not make Doctor Who ever again. They should
awful.
immediately stop Doctor Who forever. It was crazy. It was truly crazy. Anyway.
Yeah.
So we got no other emails beyond that one. We did get a lot of content out of that email.
We did. Thank you, Apple Podcast.
Somehow. Thank you. All right, that's gonna be us.
No, I need to send you this unhinged Nikkei video. I sent it last night.
Yeah.
But
sorry.
this video,
yes.
This video is called AEAUAUEUE in parentheses all cap Nikkei, and it's just two seal creatures yapping at each other and then an explosion. And I don't know why, but this is every time I watch it, I burst out laughing. And I feel like I need to be put down.
Yeah, you're reaching a stage. You're reaching the point of no return on Nikkei.
Mm-hmm.
You have to accept it or you have to deny it. Not many people have seen this video. I don't know how you found this.
It was in my recommended. That's how you know it's bad.
That's how you know it's bad.
I do like that the description is Little Mermaid and Doro discussing that the Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race. I
see. The account is called Cult of Coochie. Nice. Okay.
Wow, I can't believe someone named that would play Nikkei Goddess of Victory and make memes about it. That's fucking wild.
Did you see the trailers for Atomic Heart? What the fuck is happening? What the
yeah. Oh, the Gooners won. It's bad.
Yeah, it's like I saw someone say we've backslid on designs for like women in video games. I don't think it's backsliding. I think it's different. I think this is a whole new strain of gross. It's I don't know. I'm just like I was looking at Atomic Heart and I'm like, okay. You think you can get away with this? You're right.
Yeah.
You've sensed the tenor and you've gone for it.
It is like a disastrous minefield of like that, and then also like any design that has like a hint of thigh being called like slutty and bad, and like it's a whole mess that I do not want to touch with a 10-foot pole anymore because like these are very targeted designs that like obviously have a lot of like emotional weight for people that like I don't necessarily fall into the category of like feeling impacted in my daily lived existence about this stuff, but people sure do have strong feelings about, and it's not really my place to weigh in, I feel, anymore at the point that we're at. So, but it's rough out there.
Well, on that note, we are done with this podcast. So, you can find us online at ultra_QUEUE on Twitter. We are also on Blue Sky at ultraQUEUE. I'm trying to remember the Coffee link. I think it's available on our Blue Sky account. I went to my Blue Sky account to find it. That's not a good sign. Oh, no, you can't. We have a Coffee. You can find it. Yes, you can. It's coffee.com /ultraQfund. Brad, your plugs.
Yeah, and be invoked on Blue Sky and on YouTube.
Yeah. I am Red November on Blue Sky. Mel is Deer Crowns on Blue Sky.
I am Spartacus.
Thank you for your email.
Yeah, thank you, Apple.
Thank you, Apple, for your email.
You see, they're bitching about the USB-C thing again.
Are they?
Yeah, apparently they're trying to, like, come up with a way to have a proprietary port cable thing again.
Fuck it. It's like the first time in forever that everyone is moving to one cable. It's like the only good thing that's happening in the world is USB-C. That's the one good thing. That's the thing that's keeping me going. Is USB-C. Everything else is trying to tear me down. USB-C that's it. That's the one hope I have in the world. And of course Apple are like, you know.
I do not miss a few years back being out and about with people, and it's like, oh shit, does anyone have a charger? Oh, that's right, you're one of those Android users. I'm sorry, my device is not compatible with your poverty phone.
It will be. Give us time. Give us time. Motherfuckers. We're coming for you. Alright, that is a podcast. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a good one.
窓を開け星空を見つめてみても帰るふるさとはもう見えない今はもう思い出に過ぎないことが俺の心ではまだ生きている青い夜空に歌うこの歌届けよ愛した人にただ一人さすらう男の頬を濡らす寂しい星空のバラード明け方の流れ星見つめて思うあれはふるさとへ届くかより美しいあの星は二度とは見え暗い彼方へと消えていた青い夜空に歌うこの歌届けよ愛した人にできるなら たいたいのさ星と